Hello, my name is Sarah, and 5 years ago, I was a single mother living paycheck to paycheck. I had 2 children, mounting debt, and absolutely no idea how I would ever build financial security. Today, I'm going to share with you the exact blueprint I used to escape that cycle and build genuine wealth. This isn't theory. This is what actually worked for me. When I first became a single mother, the stress was overwhelming. I remember sitting at my kitchen table at midnight, staring at bills I couldn't pay. My bank account had $43. I had credit card debt totaling nearly $18,000. I had student loans. I had a car payment I could barely afford, and I had 2 mouths to feed besides my own. I felt like a failure. I felt like I'd never escape this situation. But something shifted in me that night. I realized that my circumstances weren't permanent. They were simply the result of decisions I'd made or hadn't made. And if my decisions created this problem, then different decisions could create a different future. That realization was the beginning of everything. The first step in my blueprint was facing the brutal truth. I had to know exactly where I stood financially. I gathered every bill, every statement, and every notice. I wrote down every single debt. I calculated my exact monthly expenses. I added up what I was earning. This was terrifying. I didn't want to see the numbers, but I had to. You cannot change what you refuse to acknowledge. Once I had the complete picture, I created a spreadsheet. It was simple, but it was honest. On one side, I listed every dollar coming in. On the other, I listed every dollar going out. The gap between those two numbers was my starting point. That gap was the battlefield where my financial freedom would be won or lost. The second step was cutting expenses ruthlessly. I'm not talking about small sacrifices. I mean radical, aggressive cuts. I canceled my cable subscription immediately. I switched to a cheaper phone plan. I stopped eating out entirely. I cut my grocery budget in half by meal planning carefully and buying only what was on my list. I looked at every subscription, every recurring charge, every automatic payment. I found that I was paying for services I wasn't using. I was paying for convenience I couldn't afford. I was paying for habits that didn't serve my family's future. Every single one of those subscriptions disappeared. Some people called me extreme. They said my kids would suffer. They were wrong. My kids ate home-cooked meals. My kids had a mother who was present and calm instead of anxious and stressed. I negotiated my bills aggressively. I called my insurance company and asked for a lower rate. I called my internet provider and asked for a discount. I asked for late fees to be waived. Some companies said no. Many said yes. It was uncomfortable. I had to swallow my pride. But it was necessary. Hundreds of dollars a month stayed in my account because I was willing to have awkward conversations. The third step was generating additional income. My job as an office administrator paid decently, but it wasn't enough. I needed more money flowing in. I started freelancing. I did data entry in the evenings after my children were asleep. I walked dogs on weekends. I offered bookkeeping services to small business owners in my network. I wasn't trying to build multiple businesses. I was trying to throw every extra dollar at my debt. For 2 years, I worked incredibly hard. I worked my day job. I worked evenings. I worked weekends. My children saw me working constantly, and I explained to them why. I told them we were building our future together. I involved them in the mission. This wasn't a burden I was hiding from them. It was a family project. The fourth step was attacking my debt with the Snowball method. I listed every debt from smallest to largest. My smallest debt was a credit card with a $2,000 balance. I took every extra dollar I could find and threw it at that card. After 4 months, it was gone. That first victory was powerful. I felt momentum. When that card was paid off, I took the minimum payment I'd been making on it, combined it with extra money I was earning, and threw everything at the next smallest debt. Then the next. The payments accelerated. What had felt like an impossible mountain started to look manageable. But here's what most people don't understand about this step. While I was attacking debt, I built a small emergency fund simultaneously. I know that seems contradictory, but an emergency fund prevents you from creating new debt when life inevitably happens. My car needed a new transmission. My daughter got sick and needed medication. These weren't minor expenses, but because I had $1,000 set aside, I could handle them without going backward. The fifth step was completely changing my relationship with money. I stopped viewing money as something that flowed through my hands. I started viewing it as a tool for my future. Every purchase became a decision, not a habit. Before I bought anything, I asked myself whether this purchase was bringing me closer to financial freedom or pushing me further away. I started reading about investing. I read books about compound interest and market history. I learned that wealthy people think differently about money than broke people think about it. Wealthy people delay gratification. Wealthy people understand that $1 today can become $5 tomorrow if invested wisely. Wealthy people are willing to feel temporarily poor to be genuinely rich later. The sixth step was investing in my own income-earning ability. I took an online course in bookkeeping and became certified. This cost me $400, which felt enormous at the time. But that certification allowed me to charge higher rates for my freelance work. Within 6 months, that $400 investment had returned 10 times over. I learned that education is one of the best investments you can make, especially when you're poor. After 2 years of this aggressive approach, my consumer debt was completely gone. $18,000 in credit cards and personal loans had disappeared. My car was paid off. The only debt I had remaining was my mortgage, which I could comfortably afford. I sat in my car and cried. I couldn't believe I'd actually done it. But debt elimination wasn't the end goal. It was the foundation. The seventh step was building real wealth through investing. Once I wasn't sending hundreds of dollars a month to credit card companies, I could invest that money instead. I opened a retirement account. I started putting money into index funds. I learned about diversification and long-term thinking. I didn't try to get rich quick. I didn't chase hot stocks or cryptocurrency. I invested in boring, simple, proven vehicles. I invested in index funds that track the entire market. I invested consistently, whether the market was up or down. This is the unsexy truth about building wealth. It's not exciting. It's boring and repetitive, and it requires patience. The eighth step was building multiple streams of income that didn't require my time directly. My freelance work had a ceiling. If I wasn't working, I wasn't earning. But real financial freedom comes when you have money coming in while you sleep. I started a small service business with a friend. We handled bookkeeping for 10 small clients. It generated revenue without requiring me to work 80 hours a week. I also created digital products based on what I'd learned. I created templates for budgeting and tracking expenses. I sold them online. They generate passive income now. It's not millions of dollars, but every month, money comes in from work I did once and now sells repeatedly. The ninth step was protecting what I'd built. I got proper insurance. I had adequate life insurance so that if something happened to me, my children would be financially secure. I created a will. I documented my assets and accounts. I protected my credit score fiercely because I'd learned how much it costs when your credit is destroyed. The 10th and final step was maintaining my mindset shift. This is the step that matters most because it's the easiest to abandon. When you've been broke, when you've experienced real financial fear, there's a voice in your head that says it won't last. That voice tells you to spend the money now. That voice says to go back to old habits. I fought that voice constantly. I still do. Even now, when my financial situation is completely different, I maintain the habits that got me here. I still track my spending. I still cook almost every meal at home. I still drive a reliable used car instead of a new luxury vehicle. I still avoid lifestyle inflation. I reinvest my profits instead of spending them. I still delay gratification. I still think like someone who was once broke because that perspective saved my life. And I think like someone building wealth because that perspective is building my future. Today, 5 years later, I have zero consumer debt. I have substantial retirement savings. I have multiple income streams. I own my home outright. I have over $100,000 in investments.